Hey, do you remember that video I made just before E3 where I listed my top 10 hopes for Zelda Wii U and NX? And do you remember how pretty much all of them came true and Breath of the Wild is fully revealed just a week later? Well, what can I say except,
you're welcome!
Clearly I possess some pretty amazing powers. But don't worry, I'm a benevolent demigod, and I only intend to use my powers for good. For now. Okay, I'm good. So I'm back to try it again. But this time, I'm giving my 5 hopes for the next 3D Mario game that was shown off during the Switch reveal trailer. And yes, we know the game hasn't been officially confirmed yet. But come on, it's probably real. And even if it isn't, a 3D Mario game has to be coming at some point, right? So let's get on with it. I want more open levels with multiple objectives. Super Mario 64 is one of my favorite games of all time. It set the example of what 3D could do for games, including Mario. Freed of the shackles of 2 dimensions, Nintendo embraced the 360-degree world, giving you full control over Mario and the camera in 15 worlds and a big castle to explore. And each world had a ton of objectives that could be completed in just about any order. Super Mario 64 really was a game about exploration and discovery, and I loved it for that. But strangely, despite setting the standard for 3D games, that foundation is something Nintendo has increasingly distanced itself from with every 3D Mario game since, as the series has progressively moved closer to its 2D origins. Mario's moveset has gone simpler, the camera's been automated, levels got smaller, and they usually only had a single and simple objective, being to reach the goal at the end.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
You said it, Jerry. All the 3D games are still fun. After all, both Super Mario Galaxies are among my favorite games of all time, and made the best of what they were. But the 3D Mario games have only moved even closer to the 2D ones since then, now even ending with the same flagpoles that the 2D games do, which is fine, but 2D Mario games already exist, so it's kind of a waste of potential to make the 3D games match them so closely. Which is why I'm hoping Super Mario Switch marks a return of a grander scope, with larger and more open levels to explore with room for improv. I want to be able to make choices beyond just, do I jump now or a fraction of a second later? And speaking of which, I want lots of moves. When Mario made the move to 3D, he could run, jump, double jump, triple jump, long jump, side flip, back flip, crawl, kick, punch, it's all in the mind, sweep kick, and there's still even more. Now for comparison, if we take a look at the moveset in the latest 3D game 20 years later, well, he can run, and he can jump. That's about it! Alright, so maybe I simplified it a little bit, because he has a few different jumps, like the long jump as well. But he can't even double or triple jump. Now that's perfectly fine for the type of game that Super Mario 3D World is. But as I mentioned before, I don't want the next Mario game to be Super Mario 3D World 2. Instead, I'm itching for something more. But why exactly does Mario's moveset matter so much? Because moves is really just another word for options. And the more options you have, the more creative you can be in going about any particular task. One of the great things about Super Mario 64 was that not only were you free to go after whichever objective in whatever world you wanted, but you could even go about those objectives in a variety of ways, including some the original developers didn't even intend. Sure, you could use a cannon to reach a platform here, or you could perform a triple jump and wall jump to it instead. And then of course you could always climb King Babama's mountain the normal way, or you could crawl up the steep slope instead and avoid the hazards. There was rarely ever a singular right way to do things, and the game left it to you to figure out which one you wanted to use. And that's exactly what I want back in the next 3D Mario, a sense of creativity and a freedom to choose. Forget the world map, I want a real 3D hub. Super Mario 64 took the idea of a world map and turned it into its own world. Peach's castle was what tied everything together, acting as a gateway to all of Mario's adventures, much like how the castle hub at Disneyland leads to the various lands and attractions. And yet, it's an idea that Nintendo hasn't revisited since Super Mario Galaxy, instead reverting to old-school world maps for the latest 3D games. And while Super Mario 3D World expanded the world map idea, giving you direct control over Mario himself, it's still little more than a stylized menu. Which again is fine for the simplified gameplay that 3D World offered, but as you've probably picked up by now, I want even more. So bring back the hub, Nintendo. Give me a central area chock full of secrets that I can explore in my leisure while taking a break from the platforming action. Something that gives greater context to the world and the levels within, instead of everything being its own isolated area. And this is actually something that Super Mario Sunshine did extremely well. The entire world felt like one connected place where people actually lived, where you could even see future levels in the background of earlier ones. The world felt like just that, a world, and I want that feeling back. I want power-ups that are actually fun to use. Regardless of Mario's exact moveset, his moves will only take him so far. He's still only human after all, except when he's a tanuki, a bumblebee, a cat, or a spring. Yeah, the power-ups are what allow Mario to perform all kinds of superhuman feats, like flying, climbing walls, or even going through walls. And at their very best, the power-ups are incredibly fun and invite further exploration. But at their worst, they're just sort of there, acting as little more than keys that you have to use to get through to the next area. And even then, they often aren't that fun to use. Instead, I want power-ups that invite opportunity, and are fun to play with in and of themselves. Who can forget the sheer joy of the wing cap, for example, allowing you to take to the skies and fly like a glider to discover new areas, objectives, and secrets as rewards for skillful flying. Every time I picked up the wing cap, it invited questions of, what if? As I tested its limits of where I could go. Now compare that to the plodding bee-suit in Super Mario Galaxy, where it didn't really raise any questions. Instead, it was just the answer of how to get past the next hazard. So I really do hope that the next 3D Mario introduces power-ups that are fun and invite further exploration, instead of just being a tool for Mario to accomplish a specific objective. I want more story. Pop quiz, hotshot. Bowser's kidnapped Princess Peach and Mario needs to rescue her. Which Mario game did I just describe? There's almost no wrong answer. Now there's nothing wrong with that per se, and that's just a coat hanger for the gameplay to hang on, providing just enough reason and context for Mario to do the things that he does. But that's it. And with how often it's been used, it's as stale as it is shallow, and it doesn't always have to be this way. So why can't we have something a little bit deeper? I don't need Mario to go full JRPG or anything, but some light plot development throughout the game would be a nice change. In fact, it's been done before in Super Mario Galaxy. Okay, yeah, Princess Peach is kidnapped there too, but this time there was a more immediate and personal story involving Rosalina and her relationship with the Lumas. And you can take part in that story by occasionally dropping by the library to see how it unfolds over the course of the game. Even though it's presented as a children's book, I'll be damned if it isn't touching. It made Rosalina feel like more than just a Princess Peach stand-in, while also lending the game's story a depth befitting of its stellar setting. What I'm getting at is I just want something more, something different, something new. Like, what if it got occasional glimpses into Bowser's master plan, for instance? And what if they were done in a comical style reminiscent of the opening to the GameCube Mario sports games? There's a lot of untapped narrative potential in Mario. Nintendo's just been afraid to explore it. So there you have it, the 5 things I want to see in Super Mario Switch. But what do you think? Let us know by posting in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and make sure to click that subscribe button for more on Super Mario Switch, the Switch itself, and other things Nintendo too. Catch you later, bye.